Hello, the internets. Welcome back to the Waifus. I am Sefi, and as you saw on the thumbnail today, I'm going to be asking different content creators what they think about NIKKE and if, in their opinion, the game is free-to-play friendly or not. Before we start, like always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to help me grow the channel. Also, this time, you will have all the links in the description down below to the rest of the content creators. Thank you to everyone who participated, and even those who didn't have time to make a video, thank you still for getting back to me and getting interested in the project. The NIKKE community, when it comes to content creators, is quite small, I will say, compared to other games, but it's still quite nice. That said, do let me know in the comment section down below if you think that NIKKE is a free-to-play friendly game or not. I will leave my opinion after everyone has given theirs, and so let's get into the video.
Is NIKKE a free-to-play friendly game? I'm going to answer this in two parts, one in competitive and another in casual. First of all, I'd like to preface this with a few things. I've reached top 30 in solo raid ranking. I'm currently in the guild, which is currently hovering around top 10 to top 15 in North America. And in terms of NA individual accounts, my account is sitting within like the top 25 to 50 of the highest leveled accounts. So I'm probably the farthest person from being free to play in this game, so it might be weird for me to answer this question. But to level myself a little bit, my guild consists of a lot of free to plays and low spenders. In fact, whenever I do my guild recruitments, it has always been based around free to play players. In terms of competitive rankings, free-to-play can compete to a certain degree, however, they will forever be gapped by spenders in terms of levels. Can they compete though? Yes and no. There are some competitive contents that equalize the levels, such as solo raid and co-op, where even free-to-play players can match up as long as they play well. Some contents like guild or union raid or PvP, however, isn't equalized. PvP has somewhat solved by matching you against other people that started around the same time, but that doesn't stop others from whaling. In terms of casual though, let's be real here. Majority of the players did start playing this game because of massive gameplay. If we look at the raw gem income, it actually doesn't account to much in terms of pulls. However, when you start counting the events and giveaways that they actually provide consistently, they do add up. A bunch of my guildmates have saved enough tickets and pulls so that they're ready for the upcoming possible summer characters or that we speculate on, or the limited banners that, collabs like Nier. You don't have to pull on every single banner. Some characters end up being able to be obtained after their banner rate up has ended, which is typically the strategy for a lot of players. I think the biggest selling point in here is actually the golden mileage tickets, which you obtain when you pull for new characters. If you get unlucky, you can use this to obtain that character. If you get lucky though and get it early, you can save it for the future characters. So yeah, is this game free to play friendly? Competitively, you could argue it is not, but for just getting the characters casually, absolutely.
Hey, what is up guys, GuitarRock here. Is NIKKE free to play friendly? Now that's a very important question. I do think that this game has a lot of potential. Now whether or not this game is going to be free to play friendly is going to depend on a lot of things. Number one is how fast you can get past the 160 gig. Now if you guys are not aware, the synchro device right here, this is going to be an idle game. So therefore you're going to need 5 characters collectively, 5 SSR NIKKEs that you can get to limit break 3. That means you're going to need 3 additional copies of, and then you can put them right here. And if you have 5 characters, once you have completed that, you will be able to insert anyone right here and they will all share the same level. And the 160 gig is probably the biggest barrier to entry for a lot of free-to-play players. If you make mistakes in rolling characters unnecessarily or wasting your gems here and there. Now I do think that NIKKE is free-to-play friendly if you know what you're doing. If you're going to be rolling randomly here and there, it's going to be tough. Yes, it's going to be easier for some characters. I've even heard of some players that have tried to wail on the game and until today still do not own a Scarlet. So that's going to be a little bit unfortunate right there. But overall, I would say the gist of this game is it is pretty free to play friendly if you're willing to be patient, because especially in events like this, events usually last for 2 weeks, and every event you'll have the ability to get 10 free tickets. That's 10 free tickets for the special recruitment voucher, and then the regular 10 recruit voucher. So you get 20 free pulls every event, not including the login. Alright, login is going to give you extra. So I do think that this game has a lot of potential for free-to-play players. So to answer the question, yes, NIKKE is a free-to-play friendly game in my humble opinion, if you know what you're doing.
Hey guys, MasterSparkz here. First I want to say a quick thank you to Sefi for having me on Loot and Waifus. So, is NIKKE free-to-play friendly? The short answer is yes. I think you could argue that gacha games in general are not free-to-play friendly and are financially dubious, but within the genre, I think NIKKE really is free-to-play friendly. The pull rates are higher for units than in a lot of games, especially for the non-pilgrim characters. 4% is actually quite good. You also have the wish list, which is a huge help for free-to-play players, and perhaps the biggest thing that makes the game free-to-play friendly is the pity system with the golden tickets. The fact that you don't reset your pity bar at the end of a banner like in most games, and you can even save up multiple units worth of tickets is insane. Like, you don't even have to use all of your tickets once you hit 200. Also, I think that so far, they've done a pretty good job of designing characters in that the new units are not required. In some games, you'll have boss gimmicks where if you didn't pull the latest unit, it's almost impossible because of some hyper-specific ability or something like that. And NIKKE so far hasn't had any of that. Now, some people will probably bring up the recent Bunny Rupee banner as an example of being terrible for free-to-play players. It was pretty expensive, but that's just aesthetics, so you really don't need to worry about that. And the other resources you could get from the gacha were good, but I don't think anyone's game was really set back at all because they weren't able to get them. But I'm interested to hear what everyone else thinks. Thanks again.
Is NIKKE free-to-play friendly? In short, I actually think it is. People need to remember a few key things. The way these are designed, above all, are there to make money. People need to remember that this is an idle gacha game before anything else it's currently known for, like the booty, other things. It's an extremely resource-heavy game that requires a heavy amount of resources to progress, forcing barriers like the level 160 wall for players who got unlucky with a current banner or unlucky with pulling characters in general, because SSRs seem to be evading a lot of people, as well as the level 200 plus barrier for people who, might be low on core dust and battle data and credits after they hit that level. So it either forces players to swipe and or wait, and these games are generally not designed around people who are patient and like waiting, which then draws them into, eventually swiping or quitting. So why do I think NIKKE is free-to-play friendly? I think first and foremost, the events that they've been releasing have been releasing subsequently and into each other, which means there's no downtime for the shops that they have with the events. And those shops, as long as you're diligently farming the currency every day and making use of the bonus tickets that they sell for gems in the shop, will give you more value of resources than, waiting an entire couple weeks would in total. So there hasn't been any major posts on whether or not they're going to be changing the release cycle for events or not, and that literally only bodes well for everyone, including and probably more so for free-to-play players, because they get the insane value of how much multiple levels they can release, or increase the general amount of for their team. But this does help everyone, including players like myself who are done the story and just enjoying the game as new content comes out. So if you are a new player and or are free to play, I think learning to manage your resources, being a hoarder isn't a bad thing for these types of games, especially with tickets to pull for units. Pay attention to what players are saying about units before you pull, because they give you plenty of time to figure out whether or not a unit is worth your resources or not. And you can take your time with figuring out whether or not a unit's for you. Obviously, if you like a unit and how they're designed and how they look, you should pull for them. Like, why not? Have fun in these types of games. Pay attention to what's coming in the future. And yes, this game has had its ups and downs over the last 6 months, but there's been a skyward, positive trend of changes and stuff that they're trying to make better for the game. Obviously, recently, with the whole Bunny Rupee thing, it's not super positive, but I think, there's a lot of hope to be had for both free-to-play players and spenders alike, that NIKKE could end up a better game for, literally everyone. And I think in general, if you're not having fun, then, even as a free-to-play player or as a spender, that you shouldn't be playing. But I think, if you play in the way that allows you to have the most enjoyment, and you take advantage of all the resources and stuff that they can and will give to you, as long as you're patient, you'll have a great time enjoying your time as a free-to-play player on NIKKE, I think. And recently I also started my own free-to-play journey on global server just to see what it's like as a free-to-play player, and so far it's been amazing. Obviously I've been a little bit lucky, but I think, if at any point you have that same luck and you have that same amount of fun, that you'll enjoy yourself a lot.
Hey guys, my name is Medium, aka Private's husband, and the question we have is NIKKE a free-to-play friendly game? And for me, free-to-play friendly means that you're going to have a good experience even if you don't spend money. There are some things that make the game free-to-play friendly, and there are also some things that make the game a struggle for free-to-play players. So yes, the game is free-to-play friendly because when you first start the game, you're gonna be getting a ton of gems, a ton of wishes from the different missions, so you are most likely to get new characters. So if you only care about the main content of NIKKE, then you should be fine as a free-to-play. But on the other hand, if you want to be competitive in PvP, maybe you care about skins, maybe you like collecting characters and all that fun stuff, you will most likely have to spend some money to actually get the fun out of that. We can put it this way. It's like person A is going to Disneyland with just the regular ticket and he only spends a whole afternoon trying to get on as many rides as possible. But he has to fall in line, all this stuff, and at the end, he just calls it a day and goes home. Or you can be person B who has the fast pass, which means that he doesn't have to fall in line to get on the rides. And maybe person B spends the whole weekend trying out all the rides and maybe checking in into a hotel and trying out more rides the next day, and before person B goes home, he buys a ton of souvenirs and merch before he calls it a day. So that is basically how I would explain the difference between the free-to-play and whale player in NIKKE. Hopefully I'm not rambling too much, but at the end of the day, it really depends on the player. If you are patient and you don't really care about getting a ton of characters, and maybe you don't even care about the skins. If that's the case, then I would say that the game is free-to-play friendly. But if you are someone who likes to collect a lot of characters, maybe you like to collect different skins, then I would say that the amount of FOMO this game has will give you a bad time. Because for me personally, I don't think I would have enjoyed NIKKE as much if I did not spend the money that I spent. So if I was to give a definitive answer, I would say that NIKKE is free-to-play friendly with some caveats.
Alrighty, it's your boy ZxousNikke, and my guy Lou and Waifus wanted me to share my opinion on if I think NIKKE is a free-to-play friendly game or not. Now, obviously, I was never free-to-play on this game, but obviously I have an aspect and I can, go off the stuff, the way the game works to see if the game is free-to-play friendly or not. Now, obviously, let's just talk about event first. We get an event, I want to say we get 2 to 3 events a month. Right, and in every event we do get one multi on the limited banner and one multi on the regular banner, which is pretty nice of them, I feel like, because at the same time the banners that come with these events are not always must summon banners, right? Obviously, for example, Biscuit was probably a skip for most people, Sakura, D, right? Even this next Rosanna girl is going to be a big skip for a lot of people, right? But you will always get a multi from their event. That would be 20 to 30 pulls to 2 to 3 multis a month just from events on the limited banners. Not to mention you get 1,000 gems a week from the weekly because you get throughout the week because you get 100 every day for 7 days and then 300 for the week. So that would be a total of 1,000 gems. So every 3 weeks you get another multi. That's already what? Let's say 3 to 4 multis a month, which still doesn't sound like a lot, but those are something that's somewhat consistent. Like I said before, there's a lot of skippable banners, so I feel like NIKKE gives a decent amount of currency because they don't always give you the best characters as well to summon on, right? So you could stock up for a long time, especially for the people who have the mindset to just save for pilgrims, right? They give you more than enough, I feel like, to save for those pilgrims. But on a daily basis, do they give you, or let's say a weekly basis, a monthly basis, how about that? A monthly basis, do they give you enough? Maybe not. I want to say they're giving you maybe 4 to 5 multis a month, which is obviously sounds like a little, and it is, but it's 4%, which isn't great, but 2% for the character, which is pretty good, and then also the pity, right? But then again, if you want to save, you could also save there. So I would say it's somewhat free-to-play friendly. I wouldn't say it's like, oh, definitely not free-to-play friendly at all, but I wouldn't say it's like the most free-to-play friendly ever, right? But I would say it's somewhere in the middle, maybe like to the middle to like maybe not free-to-play, like right beside to the middle, if not the middle. Yeah, I don't know. But I really don't know if I would say NIKKE is completely free-to-play friendly. Like, I do feel like free-to-play players have a chance for sure, but I don't know if I would say it's 1000% free-to-play friendly, obviously, right? Because if you want to summon on every single banner as a free-to-play, you just can't. So that's a different story. But in terms of them giving you currency and staying up to date, giving you a chance with banners, I think they do a pretty good job for free-to-play. So that's my opinion on it. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about it as of right now. I'm really gonna think about that question. I'm not gonna lie.
And after everyone has given their opinion, I want to talk a little bit about mine. So in my case, I am not a free-to-play player. I usually spend around $50–60 every month in NIKKE. Sometimes it's a lot less, just $20 with the mission pass and the multi-car. Sometimes, like when there's a big event now with summer, I do spend more. I never go past $60. I just don't think it's worth. In my case, I just like getting one copy of each character, and I've been lucky enough that that is enough for me. That said, I do think the game is pretty free-to-play friendly, a little bit above the standard in most gacha games. Every month and a half, you will be able to PT a character. We are getting at least 30 pulls per event, and we are getting usually events back to back or once a month. Now we're getting even more of them. So for example, with Queen's Order, Bunny 777, and now Summer, we've gotten 3 events back to back to back. Most of those units are not limited or meta, but the units that are not limited, you can get them afterwards. So I would say that that's completely fine. From the perspective of a fully free-to-play player, however, as a collector, I don't think the game is going to be super great. There are a lot of units they keep releasing around 1 to 3 per month, and obviously you will not be able to keep up unless you are focusing on limiteds and pilgrims. If you only focus on those units and then you wait for the rest to get them over time, because once again, with the wishlist system you can get them, I think for that NIKKE is pretty good compared to other gachas right now. That said, I don't want to be fake here. My opinion, of course, is going to be a little bit twisted or change it, because this is the first game I'm actually spending money, the first gacha that I've played for so long. So I do want to ask you, if you are a free-to-play player, do you think this game is free-to-play friendly? To me it is, but once again, as I am spending, I feel my opinion might be a little bit biased here. So do let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Once again, thank you to all the content creators that participated in this video. One love to all of you. Like always, thank you to all the patrons as well for making this content possible. If you want to join them, you have the links in the description down below. Good luck with your poll degenerates, and see you in the next one.
役立たずは楽園から追放するのみ。ブランとノワールのショータイムです。天地万物を切るとはこういうことだ。